early prelim opener, Chelsea Chandler, Jocelyn Edwards. Mid-fight, terrible to watch. I probably won't watch it, to be honest. But I think Jocelyn Edwards is just more athletic. I think she's going to be able to keep her at range. I don't think Chelsea Chandler is really that good. Jocelyn isn't good either, but I think she's more athletic. I think she can outpoint her on the feet. Chelsea Chandler kind of has to mix in the wrestling, and she runs into cages head first. Let's just leave it at that. I think she'll just get outdone at range by Jocelyn Edwards. I'm going to say 29-28. Maybe Chandler gets a takedown in there, but it should be a pretty boring fight that I think Edwards is just more athletic, and that'll do it. 29-28. Boring UD. Strikes on the outside. Looks like a female Leon. Yeah.
I got Jocelyn Edwards by decision. That's all I gotta say. Nobody really gives a fuck about this fight.
First fight of the night, first clean sweep. I'm gonna go Jocelyn Edwards. Panama, you have a fighter. Decision. Simply put. On to the next one.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a little bit more substance in this next fight. We just talked about it a little bit off camera. Timmy Quamba versus Roberto Romero. Timmy Quamba, I believe he did not get signed off the contender. I think he won, but he didn't get signed. Blagioki's opponent fell out, and Timmy Quamba got signed on short notice, a weight class up to take that fight. It was a pretty close fight. People thought, oh, he might be pretty decent once he goes back down to his real weight class. And then he fought Lucas Almeida and got fucking brutalized on the feet. I think I'm going to have to go with Roberto Romero here. He looked good against in his debut against David Onama. Dropped David Onama even. I rate that. He's a scrappy Mexican dude. I don't think Timmy Quamba has any finishing potential, really. Even more so because Roberto Romero is a unfinishable Mexican guy. I think he's just going to be able to scrap him here. I don't think Timmy Quamba really has that dog in him like that, whereas Roberto Romero does. I think he hits harder. I think if it gets into a scrap, he's going to want to be there more as well. He's fought and done better at a higher level of competition. So from what we see, I think we have to go Roberto Romero, in my opinion. I'm going to say decision. I'm going to say 30-27 or 29-28. Maybe Quamba outpoints him in the first, but I think he's going to be the guy doing damage in this fight. And that'll give him the decision. UFC wants Mexican fighters too, so I'm not sure what ethnicity Quamba is, but Roberto Romero reps Mexico. They definitely want him on that Guadalajara card. Name out of him, so Roberto Romero decision. I'm gonna go damage 29-28.
I'm gonna side with Alex on this, but I'm gonna do something different. I think I'm gonna go with a TKO here. I think it's gonna be one of those fights where Romero just like wears the damage and then slows down Timmy, and I think it's just gonna break him down. I'm gonna get to the David Onama thing in a second when we get to David Onama, but I pretty much what Alex said is what I was gonna say. Like, he was very highly favored to lose by finish against David Onama and went to a very close decision with him. So I rate that. I'm going to go with TKO. I could see a decision happening, but for some reason, something's telling me there's going to be a finish that Roberto Romero is going to do.
Interesting fight. I'm not really too familiar in both these fighters. I could just recall Romero's performance against David Onama as a heavy underdog, and he impressed me. You know, he dropped him, and he was able to make it a pretty competitive decision for the most part. I haven't really seen any of Kawamba's fights, but I noticed he lost a decision to Lucas Almeida. That's not the best look to me. I know Almeida's not bad, but I kind of feel like he's a killer be killed fighter, and if you're losing a 15-minute decision against a prolific finisher as his style is, that kind of tells me, like, technically wise, like, I don't know if I can trust you if this fight does go to a decision. And stereotypically, Mexican fighters are usually durable, have good cardio, are able to scrap. So I'm just gonna bank on that. I'm gonna roll with my people on this one. I'm gonna go with Romero. I think I'll go with a decision. Should be a competitive fight, but I just think that we've just seen more dog out of Romero than we have in Kawamba. At least I have from what I've seen. So I'm gonna go with a Roberto Romero decision. 2 clean sweeps.
All right.
Moving up to some more women's MMA mid. Jacqueline Amorim versus Polyana Viana. Hey, the fight might be mid, but they ain't mid.
Yeah.
Polyana. But yeah, Amorim wins. I don't know how Amorim looks really. The Topology picture is always ugly. But might be a good watch in other ways. You never know. But yeah, it's a shit fight. Let's be real. I think Amorim's probably just more in the game than Viana is. Viana's more, more about her appearance than I think her skills. And I think, it shows when she loses all of her fights. I think Amorim loses to Sam Hughes, which is fucking terrible. But at this point, Sam Hughes does be beating bitches. I don't think Viana has anywhere near the dog that Sam Hughes does. I think you probably need to have a dog in you to beat a lot of these pretty women's fighters that just need to get dogged out, pretty much. Pause. Actually, that's not pause, but not in that way. You just gotta get in their face and just make them fight. A lot of girls don't want to do that, and that's where both of these bitches lose. But I think Amorim's more in the game than Viana is. I think BJJ might be a wash, but you probably got to favor Amorim slightly, just her being more active, more in the game, not trying to sleep with all the different men's fighters and different stuff like that. So I think Amorim could probably get a submission in here. It's women's MMA. I'm going to go decision just because. But I could see it becoming like an armbar in the second, if you think that might be it. Could put some money down. I like the idea of like an armbar happening in this fight. Armbars happen in women's MMA more than they do in men's MMA. So I could see it. Polyana's lost by armbar before, so I think second round armbar is a good pick or decision. I'm gonna go second round armbar. Fuck it. Morin. Let's go.
I'm gonna agree with Alex, but minus the armbar. I think it's gonna be a decision. I got the Jacqueline bitch. I don't really know much about her. I don't really know much about. Well, I know Polyana. I think everybody knows who the fuck Polyana is because she's just on your local favorite MMA fighters' fucking Instagram page, fucking them and trying to get some skills known. Although she's just clout chasing. Honestly, this is as long as I've been talking about women's MMA when it comes to prediction wise. I'm just gonna go with decision. So, no.
Yeah, third fight of the night. Third straight clean sweep. I'm going to follow Alex on this one. I do think Polyana Viana is the better striker on the feet, but it's just not enough of a gap to make me want to pick her or want to bet on her or want to rock with her. They're both attractive, that has nothing to do with fighting, but aside from that, they're not bad looking. I think the gap on the ground is more significant with Amorim, however you pronounce your last name. Jacqueline, I think the grappling is just more. There's just wider margins between the two of them on the ground than there is on the feet. I think she gets takedowns, and I'm gonna go with Alex. Second round submission, most likely an armbar. He's right about that. Armbars really do be happening more frequently in women's MMA than men's, for sure. And I just think there's a gap on the ground, so I'm gonna go with an Jacqueline Amorim second round armbar. I'll follow Alex on this one.
Yeah. Moving on, slightly less mid. Cameron Simon versus Malcolm Wellmaker. This is tough because we've seen more out of Cameron Simon than we have Cameron Wellmaker. Malcolm Wellmaker, how do I call him Cameron? I'm going to fuck up his name all video. But that's his name. Wellmaker, I think, he's 30. He is older for a bantamweight. He kind of has to get going in his career. I could see them kind of giving him a fight where he could maybe get a win here. I think Cameron Simon is quite available to be hit. I don't think his defense is very good. He's very output heavy, Cameron Simon is, without any real pop. Kind of sloppy, falls over himself in moments, kind of like a Drickus at bantamweight. Just more technical, but no pop, no danger to any of his strikes. Whereas Malcolm Wellmaker is a technical counter-striker with power. And I think that's kind of a nightmare matchup for the likes of Cameron Simon's style. Peyton Talbot has a similar style, but, from what we've seen, way better than Malcolm Wellmaker. Wellmaker, I do think, has power. I could see this being a fight that actually makes Wellmaker look really good. It makes Peyton Talbot kind of look bad. I could see it being like, well, if Wellmaker did this to Cameron Simon, does that really mean Peyton Talbot is all that? I could see it being one of those. I could see him kind of brutalizing Cameron Simon in this fight. I think Cameron Simon has to mix in the wrestling. and I could see like a knee waiting for him when he does it because I think he's telegraphed. I like Cameron Simon. I think he's one of the good guys in MMA, but I don't think his skills pay the bills in the bantamweight weight class where you have to have everything, you know. And I don't think Cameron Simon has everything. I don't think he has any power. I don't think he has very good defense. I don't think he's physical in general in any way. He kind of just has output, and he's not even super good at that. Like, he doesn't have a super good chin to where it doesn't matter if he gets hit. Doesn't have any power. No, he's not that super good at boxing like a Holloway where, yeah, he doesn't have pop, but the volume's going to kill you. He doesn't that. He always just wins by output. Or he's fighting a bum, they gas out, and he subs him. I think Wallmaker wins this fight by KO in the first or second. Sad to say it, I like Cameron Simon, but I think this could be the fight that gets him cut from the UFC. I think he could get hurt bad out here, and I think, just 24 years old, but he got thrown to the wolves pretty early. And I think this could be. I think it could be a sad story unfolding, but I think Malcolm Wellmaker KOs him first 2 rounds. I think it's a bad one.
I'm gonna agree with Alex. I'm gonna go with Wellmaker by. I'm gonna go with first round knockout. I just feel like coming back after getting molested by Peyton Talbot. Oh, I should be careful how I say that. Peyton Talbot might just get excited about the different type of molesting.
Yeah, he might want that.
Huh?
So he might want that rematch after hearing that.
Yeah. Might even add Frank Ocean into the mix, make it a triple threat. Nah, I like Cameron Simon. It sucks because, like, he's so young, but the thing is, I just think Wellmaker right now, in the position he's at, he's got to go for it, like Alex said. And I think he's going to knock Cameron Simon out after coming back after getting brutalized by Peyton Talbot. He should have taken another fight, like, not saying come back right away like Volk, but, like, take a little bit of time and then fight later on in that year, maybe like against like some shit like that. But nah, he took a little way too long for that. And Wellmaker is, I think his last fight was 7 months ago. I mean, it's not that active, but it is not as bad as a year. I'm gonna go with first round knockout.
It's an interesting fight, Cameron Simon, I want to say his 2 losses are Christian Rodriguez, who is a quote-unquote fraud checker, if you will, even though he's just really a fat bantamweight who misses weight on purpose, but that's besides the point. You got him and then Peyton Talbot, and, they're not bad fighters. Peyton Talbot, for what he is not a bad striker. His timing, his reach, his range. Christian Rodriguez, well-rounded, mixes in the wrestling very well, and things of that variety. Cameron Simon's not a bad fighter. He trains at a decent gym in South Africa with the champion Dricus du Plessis. He's not a bad fighter, but as Alex said, he doesn't separate himself enough for me in fights to feel comfortable enough to be confident in him. His power, it's not all that. His output's decent, but it's not like world-class. The thing I don't like about Cameron Simon is that I can't trust this fucker to shoot a takedown. And that really is annoying because I feel like that is an element of his game that we just haven't seen whether it's good or not yet. I can't recall, at least in the Talbot fight, there were like maybe he shot a takedown, but I don't even remember. Probably was after he got dropped or concussed. But if you told me Simon's going to mix in the wrestling, I wouldn't mind the underdog pick of Cameron Simon here in this spot. Because yes, the year layoff isn't great in terms of rust, but it could be good just in terms of reinventing himself, and maybe he's added some new tactics to his game plan and ways that he can affect the fight. But if this fight takes place on the feet, Wellmaker is not bad. I actually saw his Contender Series performance, and if I'm not mistaken, he got a knockout. I could be wrong, but I think he did get a knockout on the Contender Series. Let me double check that real quick, just so I can be quoted on that. My bad. Let me see. I'll edit this part out. He did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's rangy. 30 years old. So even though Simon has the more UFC caliber experience, I kind of do agree with Alex in the sentiment that this dude's 30. Like at bantamweight, you gotta get the ball rolling. Like if you're over the age of like 28 at bantamweight and you like want to be ranked, like you gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the hours. If this fight takes place on the feet, which I do think for the majority of it will, I have to favor Wellmaker in terms of just he's a good striker, man. Like he has good range management. He's got pop in his shot. His footwork's decent. I think I'm gonna go with a Wellmaker third round KO. I'm gonna take a little bit of both of y'all pick. I'm not gonna say he gets knocked out in the second. I think he maybe survives to a third, but he gets knocked out in the third right before going to a decision. So I'm gonna take like a little bit of both of y'all pick. I'm gonna go to a Wellmaker third round TKO in a fight where maybe we do see Cameron Simon shoot a takedown in the first round and actually mix it up. But I think Wellmaker will eventually find his range, find his shot, and maybe even time in that knee that we've seen Simon be susceptible to in his takedown entries. And yeah, I'm going to go with a third round Wellmaker TKO. Should be a good fight.
Moving on to our next fight. Alatang Haley versus Damon Blackshear, another bantamweight fight. I have a feeling that this is where the clean sweep streak ends. I am picking the underdog, Alatang Haley, by knockout. I think him training with Cejudo at the Fight Ready is one of the better gyms to defend against a grappler. He's getting in rounds with the likes of the Pitbull brothers, Henry Cejudo. I'm sure he's training wrestling with whoever's been teaching Zhang Weili as well. I assume since they're both Chinese at the same place, you probably need them in the same place at the same time, so the translators have an easier time, getting the message across. And I think he's nothing special, but neither is Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson was beating the fucking shit out of Damon Blackshear on the feet. Nobody expected that. And Damon Blackshear didn't want to shoot a takedown. It was Cody Gibson's retardedness of him shooting the takedown that got Damon Blackshear to the positions he wanted to be, or he subbed him. That was Cody Gibson being retarded. Alatang Haley is not going to shoot takedowns like that in this fight. At least he shouldn't. I don't expect him to. If he does, for some reason, just shoot a takedown and get subbed in the first round, I'm going to cry. Because he's never done that in his life before. And if he all of a sudden does it for the first time here when I'm picking him, I'm going to lose my shit. But I think Alatang Haley has a much bigger caliber gun than Cody Gibson does. He's got good boxing. He's been able to KO people in the past, even though he's a decision merchant mostly. But I think Damon Blackshear is going to get hurt bad early in this fight. I think his striking has been getting exposed by Cody Gibson and Montel Jackson. It's one thing to get KO'd by Montel Jackson. It's another to get teed up on by Cody Gibson. And I think we're starting to see, Montel Jackson does him in 15 seconds. Easy, flat KO. When Montel's never done that to anybody else. Cody Gibson looking like a fucking aficionado on the feet. Until he does stupid shit and gets grappled. That guy teaches our use, by the way. He's a teacher. Fire him from the UFC and his teaching job. But Damon Blackshear's just not good. I think his grappling is good, but I think his striking is bad, and I think his IQ is worse. And I think Alatang Haley is going to be able to find the shot in the first 2 rounds and it's going to put him out. I could see it becoming a decision, and I could see, he gets dropped badly, and then he's like, oh shit, I'm going to grapple now. But it went 2 full rounds of him getting outstruck by fucking Cody Gibson, just for Cody Gibson to do stupid shit and get subbed. They give a microphone to Damon Blackshear afterwards, like, yeah, you got a good win, buddy. What do you think? Yeah, my boxing was really good. That's what the fucking guy says. His boxing was not really good. He's delusional and he's not smart. Thank God he's not teaching either, because if Damon Blackshear was teaching with Cody Gibson, that'd be a hell of a fucking duo. Neither of them should be anywhere near a microphone, a teaching job, anything. These are the dumbest fucking people on planet Earth. Alatang Haley doesn't even speak English. He's probably more qualified to teach fucking English class than they are. To be honest. I think he's gonna KO Damon Blackshear. I think Damon Blackshear's fucking retarded. I'll leave it at that. You're really gonna say your boxing did it for you when you subbed the guy and you got fucking... Oh! It hurts my head. Outstruck. Cody Gibson's stupid too, so he shot takedowns on you and you subbed him. You're talking about your boxing's really good and that's why he was shooting on you?
This is why Mario Batista won.
Alatang Haley by KO.
I gotta think.
Fucking hate those motherfuckers so much. I fucking hate Cody Gibson and I fucking hate Damon Blackshear for being retarded. The IQ needs to be on the tail of the tape.
Tony,
Tony,
just go, bro. I don't even know what to do.
It's a tough fight, man. You know, I do hear what Alex is saying. I do not think Damon Blackshear should be minus 350 again. I don't understand that. Their records. Yeah. Say again. I didn't hear what you said.
I think he said
the IQ.
Yeah. You know, like, I don't think Damon Blackshear should be as sizable of a favorite as he is in this matchup. He does have good grappling, you know. His submission game is legit. But his striking leaves a lot to be desired, you know. He beat Cody Gibson, the history teacher. Congratulations, you know. Good win. But, yeah, a large duration of that fight, he was kind of underwhelming. He was arguably losing a lot of the exchanges on the feet and in the clinch. And if it wasn't for Cody Gibson just absolutely being the stupidest fighter probably ever and grappling with Damon, when that's clearly the element and the realm of the game that he wants to play, you could argue that Cody Gibson would have went on to win a decision where he would have outstruck Damon Blackshear had he not fought as dumb as he did. Alateng Lee is fairly experienced, 33 years old, I want to say, 17-9 record. He's got over 25 plus pro fights. He's only been subbed one time. It was by a Kazakh or like someone from that region of the world. Something with the OV last name. I do fear if Alateng he could get subbed, but you know, only going 25 plus pro fights, only being subbed once, so that's not bad. And I do know that he can wrestle. He can be on top. I don't hate Alex's pick in this one as an underdog. I don't agree with the line of Damon Blackshear being that sizable of a favorite. Fuck it. I'm gonna go with Alex on this one. I'm gonna go Alateng He by decision. I think he could get top time. I think he's the better boxer. I think so long as he doesn't, you know, fall into a submission, you know, Damon Blackshear is gonna have to show me with the striking. I don't believe he's gonna knock out Alateng He, so I don't think he's gonna knock him out. As long as he doesn't sub him, I mean, I feel like that's Damon's main win condition in this scenario. I think Alateng He can go 15 minutes and outstrike him, stay on top, and not get subbed. I could see it. So, and both records, you know, they're not that good. So, when both records aren't that good, and I don't agree with the line as being as big as it is, we could use some more Chinese fighters. Let's go Alateng He by decision. I like it. I'm going to follow Alex on this one.
Yeah. He's also got that short, compact build, you know what I mean?
Right, it's hard to sub that. That's hard to sub that. And Cody Gibson literally could have won that fight. He literally could have won it. I don't know what he was thinking.
Honestly, I think Alex might have convinced me.
Yeah, he cooked.
I'm gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to keep the clean sweep here.
I like it.
I'm gonna go with.
This is our underdog of the card.
Yeah, getting plus 250 on Alateng He. I like it.
Nervous about that fucking Cody Gibson fight. Like, when Cody Gibson was landing those shots, I was like, bro, don't get fucking chinned by Cody Gibson. And this was when I was actually, like, I was fucking with Damon Blackshear because, don't get me wrong, I do respect that he's continuing his activity streak and shit like that, but something's telling me he's gonna get chinned this time around. And we all know that, like, yeah, it's okay to be active. Like, look at Buckley. He fought, like, 4 times in a row, and most of them were by finish and all that. But there's also a reason why people aren't so active. And I don't think Damon Blackshear got that dog in him to be, like, totally active. I think I'm gonna side with the underdog pick here. I'm gonna go with TKO, second round TKO by whatever that Chinese dude's name, Alateng Lee. Yeah.
Another bantamweight fight. A lot of bantamweight fights on this card. This is like the 3rd or 4th time this fight's been booked. We've predicted it like 3 or 4 times already too.
Yep.
Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda. Let's keep this relatively short. We've already made this prediction like 3 times. But I think Chris Gutierrez is to win. I think he's better experienced. He's fought a higher level opponent. He's got good leg kicks in history. Leg kicks have been the downfall of Castaneda. His fight against Nathaniel Wood, he got brutalized by leg kicks. It was a great leg kick performance by Nathaniel Wood. He destroyed Castaneda's legs. And I don't like that going into Gutierrez's fight. I don't think Gutierrez will do him like that, but I definitely think that calf kick will be there. I think he's a cleaner striker. He's got better footwork, whereas Castaneda's a little bit more wild. I think Gutierrez is just going to be able to kind of teep him, jab him, calf kick him at range for 3 rounds. I could see Castaneda getting frustrated. And to be honest, I'm not going to pick you if your fucking head coach is Pat Barry. Enough said. Chris Gutierrez decision. I'm going to say 30-27 or 29-28. I think it'll be boring, but I think it'll be a clear-cut decision.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what Alex said. And like he also said, we've done this prediction several fucking times. I'm done with this fight. If this fight even gets rebooked, I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm just going to let y'all motherfuckers go at it. Because I hate... This fight is so fucking annoying, bro. I just don't like it. Just get this fight over with. It's one of those fights where it's stop fucking canceling it. Just at least get this fight over with.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick with my previous pick. I'm going to go with Chris Gutierrez by decision.
Clean sweep streak stays alive. I'm going to go with Chris Gutierrez by decision. I do think Castaneda has, I suppose, the more versatile game. I feel like he can mix in takedowns, and he may be a better boxer. We don't know. But his main weakness is, fucking Chris Gutierrez's bread and butter. So, just off that margin, I could see him exploiting the calf kick at range for a majority of the fight. And yeah, I'm just going to go to Chris Gutierrez's decision. Not my favorite fighter by far, but yeah, you should get this done. He's bigger. His main weapon is Castaneda's main weakness. So you should be able to put 2 and 2 together. So, yeah, clean sweep stays alive.
Yeah. The clean sweep streak continues, as Tony alludes. I feel like that's kind of if we all agree across the card, and on most of the card, those are pretty safe picks. You know what I mean? But if a fight does... if it's split, that's kind of, those are the hardest fights on the card to predict usually. Your Pitbull Yairs. Even then, we unanimously agreed on that shit too. Even though we were wrong on the Pitbull one.
Mm-hmm. We were right on Reyes, though.
We were. That was a really good one. Shout out to Reyes. Yeah. That was one of our better picks. I knew it one of the hit. I told you. Either Pitbull or Reyes, one of them was guaranteed.
Facts.
You know what?
Reyes. Yep. Shout out Reyes.
Sad for Pitbull, because I thought, Pitbull being...
fuck Pitbull. I'm never picking that motherfucker again to ever...
I'm not picking him either.
Dan Ige knocks him out, unfortunately.
Dan Ige would fuck him up. Oh my god.
Dan Ige is fucking up Pitbull.
Ahmad Hassanzadeh versus Evan Elder. Sorry to Afghanistan. Ahmad Hassanzadeh is terrible. And apparently a lot of Afghanistani people don't like him either, because he left the country while they were dropping bombs on him, the Taliban. But the Taliban's probably low-key rooting for this dude's downfall. So I gotta be honest, he's not good. I forgot who he got knocked out on the first time of the Contender Series. I want to say it was
It was Sadikov.
Yeah, it was Nazim Sadikov. Fucking KO'd him, and he lost right after that. He lost to Josh Streaker, 8-5, right after. And then he beats 3-1, 10-5, 8-3 guy on the Contender, gets to a decision. The guy he was fighting on the Contender, Dylan Mantello, I think he was either Canadian or he's New England Cartel or just some fucking bum. He was beating the shit out of Hassanzadeh the entire fight. And Hassanzadeh just got his back in the third and subbed him. Yeah. And Dana's I love everything about this kid. He's such a dog. We're gonna sign him even though he's fucking terrible. This guy he beat was terrible, and he was beating his ass, and he just got subbed in the third because he sucks too. I love everything about this kid. Signs him.
Who does? Oh, he trains at Alpha.
Hassanzadeh does?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't trust that. Evan Elder's pretty good. I like Evan Elder. He's got good striking. He looked really good against Sadikov, actually, considering they have a similar opponent. He was, in my opinion, he was winning the Sadikov fight, or it was 1-1, but he had a really bad cut on his eye and it got stopped. And think about it, Sadakov's got a lot of favorable cut stoppages in his favor. Evan Elder, what's his name? Israel Bonfim was good sink. He's got a lot of decisions in his favor like that. But Sadakov's pretty decent.
Very accurate.
And close. And the Hassanzada fight was not close. Hassanzada's terrible. He chases takedowns like this, like a Ben Askren, arms fully outstretched, head looking down. He's not good. And, he doesn't even have good enough cardio to, cardio max and shoot a bunch of takedowns in, Moravia. He's shit cardio. Or, smokes hookah all day. And I expect to pick you over Evan Elder, who actually takes this shit serious and, has good fights with top contenders or, top unranked contenders like Sadakov. I got Evan Elder here. I think he's going to KO him early. This is not Dylan Mantello. He's not going to let you off the hook and just eat you up at range and not finish you. He's going to finish you if you're getting teed off on that badly by him. So I think Evan Elder's probably going to TKO him in the first 2 rounds. Hassanzada's ass. Sorry, Afghanistan. Your guy's fucking terrible.
Listen, man. We left Afghanistan for a reason. I think we're gonna leave Afghanistan with another headless corpse. I think Evan Elder is gonna TKO this motherfucker in the second. I got Evan Elder winning by TKO in the second round. I don't think Hamzada's even all that. But I do rate Evan Elder. Pretty much what Alex said is what I would say. That's all I gotta say. And I'm also gonna leave it off with we left Afghanistan for a reason. We're gonna leave again.
I want to roll with the clean sweep streak. I'm gonna go with Evan Elder. I'm gonna go with a second round TKO. I can't even pronounce. I don't even want to try to pronounce his name. The Afghanistan fighter. I saw his Contender Series performance. He was getting beat up, and then he found a opportunistic submission in the 3rd round. Congrats to him. I think Dana loves him because he knows that, oh my goodness, a fairly decent record with a Middle Eastern fighter. We might have something here. But I think that might come to an end here. I think Evan Elder is the more polished, more complete overall fighter. Better gas tank, better technique in the boxing and the striking overall. Yeah, I'm going to go with the second round TKO. I'm thinking body shots, low-key.
I can see it.
I think he'd rip his... I think, what the other fighter's name, his mid, as McGregor would say, his midsection soft, I think he could fucking rip that shit apart with some body hooks.
Yeah, it's going to be a brutal beating, I believe.
Yeah.
Let's sync you in on the predictions. If he's there. Ron.
Not this one. I'll pick up on the next.
But the next will be the pay-per-view, I think.
Well,
I'm talking about next
next
fight.
But yeah, sounds good.
Next card.
No, I saw my next fight.
This is the last prelim headliner. A weird prelim 2 headline, I have to say. Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick. It's a very weird prelim headliner.
There's gonna be a banger. There's gonna be a banger fight.
I do think it will be fun as well.
It's gonna be fun.
I think it's gonna be fun in the grappling. I think Jimmy Flick is a good grappler. I think Matt Schnell. Well, I think they are good jiu-jitsu. They are both good at jiu-jitsu. That being said, I think the striking is in favor of Matt Schnell pretty significantly, which is funny to say because Matt Schnell is almost always at a disadvantage in the striking.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Flick is kind of like your Ryan Hall archetype, your Weston Wilson archetype, like this guy with jiu-jitsu and not a whole lot much else. I don't think this gets you anywhere. This is a guy who retired once already and came out of retirement just to get smoked, pretty much. And he said, the whole shit, the reason he retired is because his dad didn't approve or something. So that just made him quit. It was kind of weird. And then he just came back all of a sudden, okay. And he's still fighting. He's able to get kind of quick submission shit. He got a flying triangle on Cody Durden, I think, or a flying armbar, or flying guillotine, something. I think it was a flying triangle. So that's always possible, but I don't think he's going to do that to Matt Schnell. There's potential. Maybe he's better in the grappling than Matt Schnell is, and they stay there too long, and Matt Schnell gets subbed because he's retarded. But I think Matt Schnell is probably going to be peppering him on the feet, and I think if Matt Schnell keeps it there, he can outdog him, outstrike him. don't know. Something tells me like I could just see like Matt Schnell frantically tapping a triangle choke or some shit. I don't know. But I don't know. I think if Matt Schnell keeps it on the feet, he should win comfortably, and that's probably what I'm going to pick to happen. But I could see Jimmy Flick. I could just see Matt Schnell aggressively tapping to some shit. I don't know. Hey, I'm going to go Matt Schnell decision, just kind of peppering at range. Not a whole lot here.
I'm going to go Schnell finish. I think if you're retarded enough to get memed by Jimmy Flick, then you really don't belong in the UFC. Like, the game plan's clear from Jimmy Flick. He's just going to try and sub you, so simple. Don't let him get you down and keep it on the feet. And yeah, I got Schnell.
I'm gonna go with Schnell as well. Although I am kind of tempted on a fucking flying rear naked choke submission by Jimmy Flick for some reason. I don't know why, but no, I'm gonna stick with Max Schnell by decision. He wasn't looking bad against Urseg. Man, yeah. I'll stick with the Schnell decision.
Clean sweep streak stays alive and well. I'm going to go with Matt Schnell. I think he's just the bigger overall fighter. He appears to be the better striker. Jimmy Flick, yeah, he's very much sub or bust. I will say, I do think the durability edge, you have to kind of lean in the direction of Jimmy Flick. He is able to take a beating to an extent. The Malcolm Gordon fight, specifically, I remember everybody was hammering Malcolm Gordon right before the fight. Like, oh, yeah, he's going to kill him. This is going to be easy. Yeah. And he was, like, whooping him, and then he just, like, got subbed. It was crazy. Like, it was wild. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Matt Schnell. I think he's fought the better competition. He's the bigger fighter. Usually size favors you in grappling exchanges. Let's go Matt Schnell. I'm going to go with Sink on this one. I think so long as it stays on the feet, I can see Matt Schnell KOing this guy. So I'm going to go with a Matt Schnell KO in round 2. I think he'll drop him, and then he'll follow him to the ground and TKO him on the ground. Yeah.
Risky. But yeah.
The end of the mid limbs. Sink, do you want to go through the picks that you had just real quick? Just like say the names of them? If you have any.
I'll tell you the matchups. Jocelyn Edwards and Chelsea Chandler.
Jocelyn.
Okay. Roberto Romero, the guy that fought David Onama and went to decision, versus Timmy Kawamba, who's coming off a loss to Lucas Almeida.
I'm
gonna be honest, I don't know.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
What else is there?
Jacqueline.
Yep.
Yeah. Cameron Simon, filmmaker. Oh, you got it in front of you?
I kind of want to fade Simon.
Mm-hmm.
We all picked Wellmaker.
We all did.
Yeah.
I just don't trust him to wrestle.
Fade Simon.
Yeah.
I don't trust Simon's chin anymore.
And we all unanimously picked the underdog, Alatang Haley. That was my original pick, and Mike and Sink and Tony fucked with it.
Yeah. We're saying Blackshear loses.
Yeah.
Wow.
We didn't like that Cody Gibson fight. We didn't like it.
For Damon?
Yeah. I thought Gibson had that, and he fucked up. He's stupid.
I remember him getting raped by the other black dude.
Montel Jackson, yeah, he's good. He's going to fight Marco soon.
But pretty much, the Cody fight was just like a battle of the stupidest fighters on planet. Cody Gibson was like beating fucking ass on the, and then he just kept shooting takedowns like a retard, and then Damon subbed him because of it.
And Gibson's like 39, right? Isn't he like fucking 40?
Damon?
No, fucking Gibson.
Cody's like 38.
He's like fucking old, yeah. Alatang, he is like 33. That's not bad.
And I was saying he trains with Cejudo as well, and like Whaley and all them, so he's probably got a good defensive wrestling. I don't think, like, Damon's a jiu-jitsu guy that never shoots takedowns. At least he didn't shoot any on fucking Cody.
Facts.
He's like, oh my god.
Isn't Haley ass, though?
He's 17-9, but what the fuck is Blackshear? He's like fucking 16-7 or something.
I want to say his only loss is to Gutierrez.
In the UFC?
I want to say it's like That and then like a draw to some. He lost to Chris Gutierrez and Casey Kenny.
Okay.
He has a loss to Kai Asakura outside of the UFC.
I saw that.
He had a draw to Gustavo Lopez in the UFC, which I don't like, but that was a while ago.
I think I'm thinking of Naysayer or some shit. My shot there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fighters pretty mid. Thing is another one.
Nerdy and bad guy.
Tony mistook him for Richie Lang.
Top 10. Yeah, I did.
Based.
I thought he was the guy in the roast spot.
I might go Gutierrez.
Yeah, we all got Gutierrez.
Yeah. But the Blackshear, what do you call it?
Yeah, who you got on that? Going with
Blackshear,
the China man? Or are you going with Blackshear?
I'll go Damon. Fuck it.
Nice.
The cleat sweep had broken.
I'll be that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Then Hassanzada. I assume you pick Elder. If you know them.
Yeah.
We are ready to move on to the main card. The main card opener, the middleweight fight between Ikram Malaskarov versus Andre Muniz. This is an interesting fight, but I think Andre Muniz, we've seen him soy out multiple times in his fights. We've seen that Ikram can get chinned, but I don't think Muniz is really a guy that can do the chinning, to be fair. He does have some underrated striking, and he was actually out-striking Brendan Allen in their fight. But he was getting out-grappled by Brendan Allen very significantly, and this has not been a trend in Brendan Allen's recent career. You know, we've had times where, you know, what's his name is spending a lot of time on top of him, Imavov, and he's out-scrambling Allen. You have Fluffy Hernandez, who's just out-grappling him for 3 rounds. You have Brendan Allen losing in a grappling fight to Kyle Barallo in Karate Combat, which, you know, I know it's a grappling fight, not MMA, but they grappled against each other for like 15 minutes. Both UFC fighters, both grapplers, and Baralho destroyed him. And Brendan Allen's grappling really hasn't been looking that good, but, you know, against Muniz, it did. Muniz got fucking TKO'd, ground and pound TKO'd by Paul Craig. That's enough by itself, in my opinion. Like, I think Ikram is going to ground and pound TKO him. I think he's going to beat Muniz's ass. I think Muniz, surprisingly, his best chance resides on the feet. I think he needs to land like a big shot and KO Ikram to win. I think Ikram's got decent striking, though, to be honest, even though Robert Whittaker destroyed him. He didn't look average as fuck. But I think against Muniz, it could look on like a similar level. Like, I think Whittaker would do the same thing to Muniz if they fought. But I think Ikram's just a better fighter. He's got good grappling. He's got good striking as well. And I think the ground and pound is just gonna... Like, if Paul Craig can ground and pound you, Ikram 100% can. No matter how good Ikram actually is, he should be able to TKO him by ground and pound 100% based on that Paul Craig fight. So that's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to say first round, ground and pound, TKO, Ikram.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Alex on this one. I'm gonna go with I think he's gonna flatline Muniz. I think I got Ikram first round knockout, first round sodomy.
I got Ikram as well. Yeah. I don't really rate usually when it's like the jiu-jitsu versus Daggies or Daggy, like there has to be like a record, like statistic, but I usually favor the Daggy type of guy. And yeah, I just don't see like you look at how Muniz fought Junior in Park and he's just spamming takedowns and shit. I don't think that's gonna work against someone like Ikram. And before he got humbled by Whittaker, he still was on a massive like finishing streak. Yeah, and I think Ikram will hurt him on the feet and pound him out. similar to what y'all chose. So yeah, Ikram.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ikram Eliskerov as well. Ground and pound TKO. I'm just thinking between is it round 1 or round 2. I'll go round 2, but I could definitely see it being round 1. Yeah, as Alex alluded to, Paul Craig's able to ground and pound you. I think Ikram Eliskerov, especially with the credentials that he presents in sambo and wrestling, like he's a multi-world champion. He trains with Islam Makhachev. Ikram's very good, and his only career losses, let's be real, it's fucking Hamzat Chimaev and Robert Whitaker. There's no shame in that whatsoever. These are top-tier fighters, top-tier athletes he's losing to. Yes, both are by knockout. I just don't think Muniz has the power of a Chimaev or the technique of a Whitaker to knock him out on the feet. And, yeah, his wrestling is elite, so he should be able to get down the takedowns, and he should be able to stomp him out. I'm going to go with the second round, ground and pound, TKO, Ikram Eliskerov, but I could also see it being in the first. I'm just going to go second. Let's keep it moving.
Another close sweep. Good fight.
Type shit.
What is the next fight? Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby.
Ooh, good fight.
Interesting welterweight fight outside of the rankings. I think Dalby's like 38. He might even be 40.
40.
Yeah.
He's 40.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. At some point, man, you can't do it the same. So, even though Dalby's looked really good lately, I think he beat Renat. But I also think Randy Brown beat Bryant Battle. Outside of JDM, Bryant Battle really hasn't lost. Randy Brown really hasn't lost, like, a decisive fight. Like, in my opinion, I think most of our opinion, he beat Bryant Battle. And then I think his last 7 or 8 fights, the only person outside of Bryant Battle was JDM. And I rate, Randy Brown pretty high. He knocked out Muslim Salikov in a round, which, at that point, we thought Salikov was done. Salikov's been able to KO people since and beat people since then. So, clearly not. But I think in like this sort of fight, Dalby kind of has to go forward and like pressure somebody and gas him out. Like we saw that with a Gabon Fiend, but I don't really think that happens with a Randy Brown. Like I think the best he can do is like kind of fight him the similar to Wellington Turman fought him, or Smellington Turdman as we call him over here. But just push him into the clinch, make it grimy, land elbows in the clinch. Dalby can potentially win that way because Turman made it a close fight, almost winning that way. I think Randy Brown has too many weapons at range. He can fight in the clinch as well. But I think, Dalby does have a way to win. But at this point, he's 40. Randy Brown isn't the same as like these other guys, and he just fought somebody in Bryant Battle that wanted to hold him up against the clinch, and he won that way. You have to assume he's been working on it. I don't think Dalby really is that great. I really don't. I think whenever they are at range on the feet, it's going to be Randy Brown scoring points, and it's just going to be Dalby getting into the clinch and hugging him. I think as long as Randy stays active in the clinch as well, he should win this. So I'm going to say 29-28. Randy, I think he's just going to be landing more. He's going to be the more effective striker, and that's going to be it. Dalby's not going to be getting a lot of takedown. Mostly just going to be like clinch control on the fence, and I think they're going to favor Randy Brown in this fit. In this. So I'm going to go Randy, 29-28.
Side with Alex, I think I'm going to go with Rude Boy. I'm going to go with same thing here. I think he's going to win by a decision. I don't see him chinning Dalby. Dalby's a dog. Although I could see Dalby winning. I could see him winning. I don't remember. I forgot this one dude's name. Who was that one old Brazilian dude that he went to a split decision with?
Zaleski? Dos Santos?
No, that was UD.
Trinaldo?
Yeah. That fight wasn't that long ago. He did go to like a super, super close decision with him. I could see Dalby winning, but I'm a favor Randy Brown. I got 29-20.
Who was the guy that Dalby frauded out like maybe a year or so ago?
Burnett.
No, Gabriel Bonfim? No? Renat too. He should have won the Renat fight. But isn't it Bonfim?
It was.
Is it Bonfim?
It was Bonfim.
Yeah.
I was probably thinking of Bonfim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see Randy having like a cardio problem or such a deficiency against the cage where Dalby can exploit it to get a win. And I think Randy's very tricky to fight if you don't have like the adequate power and like boxing skills on the feet. So I think he'll be able to decisionate Dalby. Yeah, Dalby's like pretty hard to finish, no?
Yeah. I would say.
Okay, so yeah, I'd go Brown decision.
I just want to see if he's ever been finished. That makes sense. Good record. 23-5-1. Never been finished. Wow. Credit to him. So, I had money on Randy Brown on his last fight against Brian Battle. I don't even want to rethink about how that went. Brian Battle won that fight off of pretty much just riding him up on the cage, essentially, and just getting total strike count. Yeah, Randy Brown should have won that fight, but that's besides the point. Randy Brown's a very good fighter, well-rounded, bit of a jiu-jitsu game, good boxing, good reach, good range, good footwork. As Alex alluded to, his last, I suppose, blowout loss that he sustained was the knockout to JDM. Outside of that, he's pretty competitive in just about every other fight he's been in, whether he's winning or losing. Dalby, very good gas tank for his age. Good record, 23-5-1. Never been finished, as I just saw. That's very impressive stuff. He should have beat Renat Fakhretdinov. If that fight wasn't in that part of the world, anywhere else he would have gotten that decision, but that's besides the point. When we look at this matchup, I have to favor Randy Brown in the striking. I think at range and somewhat in the pocket. I think I just think he's the more polished, more technical striker. The area of concern I have in this fight is that Randy Brown pretty much just lost his last fight after getting ridden up on the fence to Brian Battle, who's not known for that. Dalby is known for that. Dalby's that's his bread and butter. He wants to wear you out. He wants you to feel fatigue. He wants to exhaust you, make you carry his weight, really exploit the physicality advantage that he presents in a lot of matchups with his cardio and just overall pressure. It's a tough fight. I think it's going to be very competitive. The durability, I kind of have to favor Dalby. He's never been finished before. But I'm going to trust in Randy Brown to get a decision here. I think he's going to outstrike him, outpoint him, and hopefully after this Brian Battle fight that he just lost, but he really should have won, he'll be more keen and more aware of people trying to control him up against the fence. He needs to really use his footwork, really set traps, and honestly, sit down on some shots. Randy Brown, he's got good footwork, good movement, good range. I want to see him sit down into some, straights, some hooks. I want him to put some power in some shots. I feel like if he can really sit down on some shots, he can really add to his striking instead of just kind of skirting around and jabbing and kicking at range. Really try to go for some power shots in this matchup. But, yeah, I think it's going to be very competitive. I'm going to go with a Randy Brown split decision where damage trumps the control time of Nicholas Dalby.
Type shit.
Yeah, no, really, I think it's going to be like that. To his points, his striking, Dalby will be, trying to ride him on the fence. I think it's going to be like that. Yeah. Type shit.
Another clean. But, moving on to another fight. Another middleweight fight. Michel Pereira versus Abush Nurmagomedov.
He's back.
Abush Nurmagomedov. Abush.
Not the fraud.
Fraud.
Fraud Daggy.
Close.
The German Daggy that got fucked up by Strickland.
Oh, I'm retarded. I was thinking of Abu Bakr. Never mind.
I'll be right back.
I'm Bruce.
I was saying Magomedov because I'm retarded. But yeah, it's Abush Magomedov versus Michel Pereira. I'm going to have to go with Michel Pereira here. I think both of these guys gas tanks. It's going to be a striking fight predominantly. Both the guys are going to want to strike with each other. Both are going to gas out. And the way I see this is like Michel Pereira fights in a way where you would understand why he's gassing out. Because he's fucking like throwing everything out there with maximum power, weird techniques, big fucking spinning, big kicks, finishing sequences. Abush Magomedov gasses out the same, though he fights like very technical and measured. So you have to ask, why is he gassing out then? Like, he ain't throwing the same way Michel Pereira's throwing, and he's still gassing out. And I think the danger level when Michel's throwing is on another level to Abus. So if they do both gas out, I favor that time before the gas out, if a knockout happens, to be Michel Pereira. Because Abus got knocked out by fucking Bilal Muhammad's coach. You know what I mean? And that was like 30 seconds in. Michel Pereira destroys people in 30 seconds, 1 minute, fights. That's kind of his specialty. Like, I can see him catching Abus before he gets settled early in the fight. I think Michel Pereira's really dangerous early in that fight. And the way you beat Michel Pereira is by having a way better gas tank in him, because he has shitty cardio. But Abus also has shitty cardio. So it's, he doesn't have that advantage over Pereira the same way a Fluffy Hernandez would, or somebody else. So I think Michel Pereira, the history of getting knocked out in the 30 seconds by fucking Bilal Muhammad's coach, it's like Pereira does that to top UFC middleweights. Like, he can do that to you as well. Like, I think I'm going to pick him to KO him really early. I think Michel's going to come in switched on. Abus is just chin wide up in the air. Boom. And that'll be... Michel Pereira's going to look like that guy again, because the fight's going to be 30 seconds long. And even if it does go longer, I think... maybe Abus can win the later rounds, but this ain't Bruno Ferreira, little bro. You know what I mean? Striking is on a different level. He's gonna be striking predominantly with Pereira for 3 rounds, not hugging his dick for 5 the same way Fluffy was. So I got Pereira KO 1 round.
I'm siding with Alex, but I think it's gonna be a club and sub. I think it's going to be a signature Michel Pereira club and sub victory. I think he's going to drop Abus with something, and then he's going to get him with a rear naked or a triangle or some shit like... Some weird Michel Pereira submission club and sub shit that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen. I don't know. Abus didn't really impress me against Bruno Ferreira. And... Michel Pereira is undefeated in middleweight in 3-round fights, so let that sink in. I'm gonna go with club and sub.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of Alex's pick. I like that one. Both cardios, both gas tanks aren't noteworthy, at least positively. But the explosiveness, the athleticism, that first round danger with Michel Pereira is very much prevalent. Abus Magomedov is fairly dangerous early too, but I don't think he's on the athleticism or the speed and the power of a Michel Pereira. I feel like Abus, I don't want to say he's a weight bully, but I feel like his danger is presented to itself because of his range and his power at being like 6'2", 6'3". He is not going to have that luxury in this matchup. Michel Pereira, I argue and contest, is as big, if not like more built than Magomedov. I'm going to go with Alex first round KO Michel Pereira. I think he's just going to be too fast, too quick, too powerful, and I see him, especially after losing in the fashion he did to Anthony Hernandez, stressing very much the takedown defense, even if Abus does attempt the takedowns. And if Abus wrestles early, he's only going to tax that gas tank even more. So I concur with Alex. I'm going to go first round KO, Michel Pereira, vintage performance, big bounce back. He looks great in Kansas City. Great way to capitalize on the main card on the big stage.
I expect the Boost to come out here desperate for takedowns. Like I've seen him in some fights before. Like, he'll just keep insisting upon getting takedowns and gassing while doing so. I forgot what fight it was exactly. I can see that in my head right now. But I could see that being like a decently effective path to victory, but I'm gonna. I rate how Michelle did early on before his gas tank ended in one round against Fluffy. So yeah, I'm gonna go Michelle. TKO, like a body shot that just holds him against the cage, and this ref pulls him apart.
All right, that'll be the another clean sweep for the card. Tony gave his prediction, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next fight, the feature fight of the card: Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. It's a tough fight. I think Giga Chikadze is probably going to win, though. I've seen so many moments where David Onama's looked like mid. The Roberto Romero fight, his last fight, comes to mind. Roberto Romero has a terrible looking record. Even though we are picking him to win against Timmy Kwamba earlier, Timmy Kwamba and David Onama theoretically should be on totally different levels. And he had a really competitive fight with David Onama. He was able to drop him. And I think just like that kind of like the Nate Landler fight as well, like these are like kind of, I feel like, red flags to the prospect of David Onama. And I think like, and if he does get through Giga, I don't think he's going to be very good. I'll leave it at that. Like, I don't think he's going to make it very far up the rankings. But I think Giga's, he loses to, your Arnold Allens, your Calvin Caters, like when he's in his prime. But I think Giga's still a better fighter than David Onama is, and definitely a much better striker. But I feel like, he's been training a lot with Benil. I think his grappling's been improving. I could see him being slightly better in the grappling. I do think David Onama would be smart to mix in the grappling. I think that's his route to victory, is mixing in the grappling against Giga. But I think just like Arnold Allen's on a different level than David Onama is at this point. And that's, it's understandable why Allen's beating Giga. But I think Giga's still got it to the point of being able to beat somebody like Onama, especially I think that Onama will probably mostly strike because it's David Onama. He does mostly strike, but I think in this fight he should definitely grapple, but I don't trust him to do so. I think Giga's going to be able to find a lot of kicks to the body and legs and just kind of outland him where he needs to. I could see him setting down on some big strikes, potentially. Giga is very injury prone. He is older as a featherweight. I think he's 36. Seems like any time he has a fight, he has to take a year off due to injury. Based on that alone, I could understand you picking Onama just because Giga's getting old. He's being injured a lot, but he's had a long career. I'm sure it's nothing new. He is a pretty damn good striker. His weakness is boxers. Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen, people with hands. And I think David Onama does potentially have the hands to give him some trouble, but I just don't think he's at that level. And so I'm going to pick Giga by decision. I'm going to say 29-28. I could see Onama starting pretty hot and outlanding Giga in the first, but I think Giga will find a rhythm. And unless Onama decides to wrestle, I think he'll lose. I'm going to say Giga decision.
I'm going to agree with Alex. I got Giga by... I think I could see Giga TKOing him, but I think I'm going to go with decision here. I do not think David Onama is all that. David Onama's making fucking Nate Landwehr look like Rocky fucking Balboa. And it's just, I don't trust that. And I don't trust his chin. I don't trust certain things. Yeah, Giga's losing to Calvin Kattar and he's losing to Arnold Allen. But he's making these fights competitive. He's making the fights that he loses competitive. And I don't think Onama's in that level of caliber that Giga loses to. I actually think he's the level of caliber that Giga either finishes or just masterclasses. Either it's going to be a 29-28 decision where Giga just beats the shit out of him in the first two rounds and then Onama wins the third by because Giga's just exhausted, or Giga's just going to TKO him in the second round via body kicks, or he goes to the body and then times a good head kick that knocks him out. I'm going to go with decision so far, 29-28.
Yeah. Nothing much more to add upon what these guys have already said. I got Giga. Just the level of competition he loses to ain't David Onama pretty much, and the people he loses to tend to have better gas tanks than him, and I don't rate Onama's gas tank much either. So yeah, I got Giga. Decision.
Giga Chikadze is the more experienced fighter. He's fought clearly better competition in Calvin Kattar, Cub Swanson, and Arnold Allen. He's Georgian. They are very durable people. They're very hard to finish, as we know, in Ilia Topuria, Merab Dvalishvili, even Guram Kutateledze. Even though he's getting beat up these days, he's still, fairly durable considering the damage he sustained in his career. Georgians are hard to kill. Giga's got good striking, good kicks, dangerous early. But I'm going to go with David Onama. I like David Onama. I think he's a very good finisher in this 145-pound division. I really rate the Gabriel Santos fight. In a fight that he was losing, he was able to bite down on his mouthpiece and able to get the finish. Obviously, there have been some performances that have been questionable in his career, as far as the Nate Landwehr performance and the Roberto Romero performance. He lost the Landwehr fight as a big favorite. There was an expectation that he didn't meet that night. And similarly in the Roberto Romero fight, he was a massive favorite. We were all thinking he was going to finish him, couldn't even get it done. So why am I picking him here in this spot? It's a great question, especially when up to this date you kind of have to say Giga may be the best opponent he's faced in his career. I think there is a more sizable gap on the ground than there is on the feet. I think Giga's boxing isn't enough to scare me off. I think he's very kick reliant. If he's not landing that signature switch kick or leg kicks and high kicks at a damaging rate, I don't trust his gas tank. Even though it is a 15-minute fight, Onama's gas tank isn't, trustworthy either. But if it does get to the ground, I do believe that David Onama is going to find the submission. And I'm going to go with a late second-round submission for David Onama. I think he'll be doing well in the boxing exchanges. I think he'll find ways to get takedowns, and he'll be able to exploit and show us the gap between the two of them on the ground. I'm going to go with a David Onama second-round submission.
I like it, low-key. It's a decent pick.
Yeah, I like Onama.
What's his name? Giga is always injured. That's kind of why I was a little bit skeptical on picking him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's very kicks. Like, the Cub Swanson finish was good. The Edson Barboza fight was good. But his boxing's not all that.
No, he doesn't really fight in a boxing heavy way. Like, he's more skirt around the outside, plant a right hand.
Right.
Rather like a jab, flip, left hook, uppercut type of guy.
Right. Calling it now, I think Onama's going to catch a kick and get a takedown off it.
Yeah. Like, Onama, I think, it's close for me in that one.
Yeah, that's a close fight. That is a close fight.
I just, like Sink said, I think Giga loses to people that aren't David Onama, and David Onama loses to people that aren't Giga as well. So, like, fucking Roberto Romero made that shit damn near a split decision.
Yeah.
On his debut. A shit fucking record.
That's true.
A shit fucking record. And a loss. He was coming off of a loss when he fought Onama.
Yeah.
Outside of the UFC.
That's right.
Or, like, 1 win, 1 loss. Like, 1-1. Something like that. Like, he was by no means, like, a top prospect.
Right.
He was just, like, a guy.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a layup. He was.
And he was not.
He wasn't. No, I will give you that.
Not.
That's facts.
So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards Giga.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's tough. Could be an off night. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like if Giga shows up on form, he wins that. Like no injuries, anything like that.
Yeah.
If he's all good, I think Giga gets him done.
Early, he's fast. Early, Giga is fast.
Yeah, I agree. But moving on to our next fight, which is a retirement fight for our boy Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Can I go on this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I'm gonna go with Ming Yang Zhang. I think he's gonna knock him out in the first round, and I think we're gonna have a retirement speech. Of course, the GOAT Anthony Smith has to have a fucking promo. You know, he's given his life and his family involved in this fight. You know, I could just definitely see him getting knocked the fuck out, and then he's just gonna have some Michael Chandler TikTok fucking motivational speech shit going on. He's gonna be like, "Well, I gave it my all. You know, it wasn't supposed to go like this. I know I can be a better fighter than him, but you know, I gotta go. I gotta retire. Just for my dead teammate. You know, I didn't give it my all this fight. You know, but you know, at least I didn't get totally knocked out." I think he's gonna get dropped, and then he's just gonna get rapid punches. And I think he's not gonna go out completely. And I think he's just gonna be saying, "Well, on the bright side, I didn't get totally knocked the fuck out. I didn't get out cold, knocked out, slept. You know, that's some Anthony Smith shit." I think he's gonna get slept in the first round. See.
Yeah.
I'm
I can't.
Grizzly in my head.
Huh?
I said I'm listening to T Grizzly in my head.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, you hear me? I heard we had some sneak dissers. Whoever feeling hot that day, I got a heat sensor.
All right, easy.
That head's on my shoulder, or that song's in my head, because he's gonna take his head off his fucking shoulders.
You got Ming Yang Zhang on that.
All right,
I just
cut that.
Yeah.
Take his head off his. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Honestly, I can't pick somebody who said they lost because they just wanted to feel something. Like this, Smith was saying that he was telling Reyes to hit him and shit like that. What type of fucking sadistic cuck mindset is that?
We'll see it in the
If
main
you're
event.
trying to
We'll see that in the main
if you're
event.
trying to be a UFC fighter, there's no way anyone should be a fighter talking about shit like that. I got Ming Yang Zhang, via Anthony Smith balling up against the cage. Maybe he can survive for 15 minutes doing that, like he's shown the ability to do in the past. But I'm gonna go with a ref stoppage this time.
Yeah, I think Min Yang Zhang is going to take his fucking head off his shoulders. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, can't go against that. I think this is the kind of the easiest fight of the card, low-key. They put him in this co-main slot for a reason. I think this is an opportunity to broadcast Min Yang Zhang to the masses. Anthony Smith's going outside in this one. I think Min Yang Zhang is going to give him the full power of communism in this shit. I just can't see it. The only way is similar to the Vitor Petrino fight. He has a submissions chance, Anthony Smith. Outside of that, I just think Min Yang Zhang's too fast, too young, too strong, too powerful. I'm going to go with a ref stoppage. I'm thinking, I don't even know if he gets out the first round, to be honest. I guess I'll go, I'm going to go first round, fuck it. I just don't see Anthony Smith having anything for Min Yang Zhang, literally at all. So, yeah, that's pretty easy. On to the main event of the evening.
I didn't even give my prediction for that fight.
Oh, you didn't?
Mike wanted to go first.
Not bad.
Yeah, Min Yang Zhang is going to KO Anthony Smith brutally, probably in the first round. Like, Anthony Smith is cooked, and they've kind of been giving him easier fights leading up to Min Yang Zhang. Roman Dolidze on short notice, a weight class up, is an easier fight, and he still looked like a victim. You know, Reyes wasn't very easy. Reyes kind of beat his ass, but like the way Smith showed up was very sad. And you know, they gave him I feel like a sympathetic rematch with Ryan Spann, a guy he already beat and destroyed. Like, here, bro, please win. You know, and then they started finally giving him, you know, contenders. Like Min Yang Zhang is the real deal, and I think he's gonna fucking destroy Anthony Smith. He's probably gonna just take his head off his shoulders. And, you know it. And yeah, he's gonna fucking, but it's just gonna be, I think it's gonna be a sad day. The fact this is the co-main too is really sad. This is his retirement fight too. Yeah, it's rough. It's gonna be brutal. Like, it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a brutal knockout. I think he might not even be all there for his post-fight speech type shit. But yeah. We moving on to the main event. Yeah, that's nice.
Yep.
Carlos Prates versus Carlos Prates versus Ian Garry. Somebody else. I just went, so somebody else want to go first on this one?
I'll go first. I'll go first again if you want me to.
Yeah.
I did a lot of tape on this fight. Originally, I was going to go with the underdog and Ian Garry on this one. I thought, like, okay, Prates doesn't really have a healthy diet. He just smokes cigarettes, drinks whiskey, and goes bar hopping and shit like that. But nah, I did some tape. And also, people got to realize, this motherfucker's vegan. He's got a soy vegan diet. And I've seen him handle body shots. His body shot handling is not the best. His chin is not the best. And if you're coming in with that vegan gut out against fucking Carlos Prates, you're going to get fucking kneed to the stomach very badly. I think I'm going to go with a second round or a third round TKO by Carlos Prates. I could see Ian Garry mixing the grappling. But something's telling me that Carlos Prates is going to stuff it. He's going to have a competitive fight with it. I don't rate Ian Garry as a striker. He's barely even a good grappler. Maybe this might bite me in the ass, but I don't know. Him being a vegan is my main point on why I'm not really picking him. I don't trust the fact that he can handle a body kick or a knee to the body. I've seen also certain other people soften his body up, and he didn't react well to it. Yeah, I'm gonna go second or third round TKO. Carlos Prates, contender on the rise.
I think the game plan for Ian Garry should be to emphasize the grappling early on to take away some of that explosiveness from Prates, because I think Prates is very dangerous on the feet. If this wasn't a short notice fight, I may have been more inclined to pick Garry here because I think he's at this point more experienced with the higher level comp. Whereas Prates, not as much. And I do think that some of his lifestyle choices make me second guess him at times, but I'm going to ride the hype and go with Prates here. I'd say TKO within the first 2 rounds. Yeah. Alex, Tony.
You can go, Tony. I just grabbed a drink.
Number one thing also, props to the Cuck for taking the fight, too. Takes balls for that. He does take some good fights.
It's a good main event. It's a good main event, you know. The future, Ian Garry versus the Nightmare and Carlos Prates. You know, both up becoming the faces of welterweight division. This new generation that we have emerging before our very eyes. Ian Garry coming off a good performance in a losing effort against Shavkat Rakhmonov, being the first man to go the full distance with him in MMA. Credit to that. You know, Ian Garry gets a lot of flack, but I will give him his credit in terms of taking fights, not being afraid of any competition. He doesn't really duck. You know, we could say whatever we want outside of the cage, but Ian Garry is a true fighter in that regard. He does take tough matchups, and I do respect that. You know.
For sure.
I think he's a very well-rounded fighter, Ian Garry. You know, he's gone to multiple gyms. He's went to Renegade with Leon Edwards. He's gone to Kill Cliff in Florida. Now he's at Shootbox in Brazil. So he's very much a student of the game. And I can't help but respect that. You know, he's taking a lot of tidbits and information from multiple gyms and adding that to his arsenal and to just making him a better overall fighter. I think the competition is very much in favor of Ian Garry, having gone against Jeff Neal, MVP, Shavkat Rakhmonov. You know, these are good fights. I think he's got the better gas tank on paper, and he's just got more tools per se to try to win the fight, and especially if it goes the distance. That being said, you know, I look at some of Ian Garry's fights, and two fights in particular I want to look at specifically. The MVP fight, in the build-up to that fight, he was talking about, I'm faster than MVP. He ain't going to be ready for my speed. You know, about like a minute, 2 minutes into that fight, I want to say MVP landed his signature 1-2, and Ian Garry was having none of that. He said, fuck that, I'm throwing that out the window, I'm going straight to grappling. And I will give that credit to Ian Garry as well. He's not stupid. Ian Garry is not a dumb fighter. He has decent fight IQ. So he will make adjustments during the fight to try to get back rounds or minutes that he may have lost. But I look at the MVP fight, you know, 6'3", 80-inch reach. I look at the Shavkat Rakhmonov fight, 6'1", 77 reach. On the feet, Ian Garry is not separating himself against these guys. Now, he did good in the Shavkat fight, you know, in exchanges on the feet. But for the most part, you know, Shavkat was ahead. And now here we have Carlos Prates. Yes, his record isn't as good as Gary's. Yes, he hasn't faced as good as competition as Ian Garry has in his UFC career. But he's older by 4 years, I want to say, something along those lines, like 31. Gary's like 27, 28. He's got more fights under his belt. He's experienced defeat. He's experienced loss, you know, Carlos Prates. And I think at this present moment, Ian Garry is not in his prime. I think there's still room for improvement. I think there's still time for him to develop and truly develop into 170. I think this is the finished final product of Carlos Prates. I think we are looking at prime Nightmare. And his performances are showing us that. He's getting finishes in all of these fights. Regardless of the level of competition, he's finding ways to manifest finishes in these fights. And when I look at this particular matchup, I think I'm going to ride with the momentum, man. You know? I think I'm going to ride with the Nightmare on this one.
Is that a cigarette?
No, it's a joint. But, anyways. I think
you really is Carlos Prates maxing.
But you really think
it looks like a cigarette, though. It's a joint. But it's all good.
So some
Joints in the big 25.
Yeah, they're good, better for your health. I also have a blunt. Go out of the one.
big ER.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Prates in this one, man. He has a fucking 5-inch reach advantage in this matchup. You know, and I'm calling it now. I cannot physically see Carlos Prates' grappling being worse than MVP's. I can't see it. I just can't see it. He trains at a good gym. Gene Silva, we just saw against Bryce Mitchell. What was the narrative going into that fight? Everybody saw that clip of Charles Jourdain taking down Gene Silva for like 3-some takedowns in that fight. And everybody thought Bryce Mitchell might fuck around and maul Gene Silva. Well, we saw that. The takedown defense was on point. You know, this gym and the Fighting Nerds is able to cook up good game plans. And I have to think with the IQ of Akayo Bahayo in his corner, they're very much going to be aware that Ian Garry wants to get this fight on the ground and grapple. They have to have been drilling this. They have to have been prepping this. I like the momentum Prates is on. I think he's dangerous as anybody at 170 right now. The 5-inch reach advantage, the kicks, the knees, the elbows. He has so many weapons that he can use in this matchup. And, yeah, I'm going to go with the second round TKO for the Nightmare with the upset win. I think a superstar is made, potentially, in this matchup. I think if he is to get this knockout over Ian Garry in Kansas City, he instantly becomes fuck a fan favorite. He becomes damn near a household name. His stardom will go off the charts. I really do see this. And the takes I have for Prates, I think his grappling's better than MVP's, and I think his striking may be more better than Shavkat Rakhmonov's. And I'm a huge Shavkat fan. Sink, Alex, and Mike will tell you, I'm one of Shavkat's biggest fans. I think Prates may be a better striker.
Been a stand since day one.
Hell yeah.
Striker. God.
He might be, bro. The power, the reach, the technicality.
Been on his shot clock since the beginning.
He's definitely a better striker.
I think he is. I think he's more dangerous on the feet than Shavkat. I think he is.
That's not a hot take.
Yeah, I don't think it's that hot. The Li Jing Liang fight. Now we could talk about Li Jing Liang, but dude, that's his first time ever been knocked out. Prates was piecing him up, setting up shots beautifully. His boxing is really good.
I like his knees to the body too.
He's dangerous everywhere. Elbows, knees, kicks, punches, name it. Prates is a fucking dangerous man, dude. Very dangerous.
I think his knees and body are gonna work well in this fight.
Yeah.
I think the household name shit is a bit of a stretch, but
a bit.
Go off.
Yeah, household names is an exaggeration. But on social media, everybody will be on Prates because social media hates Garry. They fucking hate Garry. So if he can knock him out, they will fucking they'll. This Fighting Nerd shit. Fighting Nerds will become the new Super Gym. They already are, but it'll be solidified.
Yeah, a win over Ian Garry is huge.
Huge.
Everybody hates
first
Garry.
guy to take away. Not first guy to take away, but
Put him at 1.
Huge. I just think right now this is the prime Carlos Prates. This is the finished product. I think Ian Garry still has room to improve, still room to grow. He can bounce back from a loss here.
Yeah, I like everybody else here. I'm also picking Carlos Prates. I didn't expect everybody to pick Carlos Prates, to be honest with you, but in my opinion, it should be an easy fight for Carlos Prates. The only question I have is those goddamn SIGs and how his cardio is stacked. So the only real way I've seen Garry winning is Carlos Prates gasses out and Garry subs him or wins the last 3 rounds. But I think Prates will be okay, despite the cigarettes. It's not like he just started doing it. He's done it his whole life, and he's fought his whole life as well. We've never seen him fight, to be fair, 5 rounds. But I think on the feet, Ian Garry is soy. He is not that great on the feet. He wanted no part of the stand-up against MVP at all. He really didn't do shit against Shavkat on the feet. A couple tapping low kicks, a couple oblique kicks, a couple jabs, some head kicks to the guard. Nothing really, and outside of D-Rod and whoever it was in his debut, who was he fucking up? Nobody.
He almost lost the debut, too. He almost lost that fight.
Yeah, he was getting fucked up by a diabetic before he KO'd him.
He was getting fucked up.
Bro, you're a vegan and you're soy, I see it. You have no finishing potential and you get hurt to the body, you got the vegan guts. It's just he's talking about I'm gonna bounce Carlos Prates' head off the canvas. Whose head have you ever bounced off the canvas?
Yeah. By the way,
he KO'd D-Rod. You know what I mean?
I could definitely see this being a TikTok edit after all the shit that Ian Gary's talking about. I could see them like flashing Carlos
Right?
post-fight at the post-fight press conference, smoking a cigarette after just kneeing his stomach or some shit.
Facts.
Yeah.
Type shit.
I don't know. I think he's so much more dangerous. I think he's got different types of power at welterweight, whereas Gary has no power at all. He has no finishing threat. He has to like flush head kick you in order to finish you or sub you. Like, he is so soy, and he's only getting soyer. You know what I mean? I think Prates is low-key going to have his way with him on the feet, and I think Ian's going to start shooting for his life, and I think Prates is going to have good takedown defense. You know, like, he had a really good takedown defense against Neil Magny. I know people say, oh, that's Neil Magny, but Neil Magny was taking down Michael Morales a lot before Michael Morales spinning up with him. You know, that wasn't a factor in the Prates fight, though. He was not able to take down Prates. Prates actually took down Neil Magny. You know, so I think Neil Magny. I know Tony's gonna feel insulted about that because Michael Morales was his boy, but it's true. He got out of trouble, bro, before he killed him. Let's be real.
He was glitching him, taking him down a lot. It's crazy, but
I mean, like 3 times in one kind of a lot.
Were they really takedowns though? Like,
all I'm saying is
that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, though. Yeah, I get it.
Prates.
I think Prates. He did good. Yeah.
Prates' takedown defense is good. I think all the fighting nerds got good takedown defense.
Yeah.
And Dean Silva had great takedown defense against Bryce Mitchell, kind of like what Mike was saying. Like, that kind of myth busted, you know. And I think this is going to be another one. It's like, Ian Garry ain't even grappling like that. Like, bro, he's been training with Charles Oliveira for a year, and everybody's like, oh, watch out for the takedown of Ian Garry. It's like, man, he got Shavkat's back for like a minute during a scramble, and then Shavkat got out of it, got the stack guard, and started whooping his ass. You know, like people make more out of that than it really was. Like, impressive that he got the back of Shavkat nonetheless. People don't do that, but like he didn't like single leg Shavkat, take him down, move to the back, put hooks in.
Facts.
Like, it was a scramble where Shavkat fucked up and he jumped on the back.
Facts. That clip makes it look like what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he's no fucking, he's a threat on the ground. He took MVP down and held him there. You know, like...
Right.
He landed total strikes in half guard. Nothing serious really happened. Like, Joe Rogan's would be like, people forget, man, the BJJ black belt of Ian Garry. Like, bro, like, he has no finishing potential anywhere. Like, you're telling me you would empty Michael Page, the guy with no grappling's back, and you couldn't sub him?
Right. Facts.
Like, bro, put me in that position.
MVP was even out scrambling him in the 3rd round. All MVP needed to do was just coast and not fucking...
Kevin Holland finishes that. Yeah. That's saying a lot. He would find a submission if he had MVP's back.
Yeah.
When he was on top of MVP, he was dropping elbows. Ian Garry was doing jack.
I actually rate I think Kevin Holland has more submissions on his record than Garry. I think. I could be wrong.
Like, people really glaze this submission game of Ian Garry. Like, man, like...
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Ian Garry is far from, like, a super jiu-jitsu guy. Like, I think he's just... He learned some jiu-jitsu. He's slightly better at it now. You know, he trained with Charles Oliveira.
He's just that one cousin of the group that, like, doesn't have a lick of jiu-jitsu, and his cousin is the jiu-jitsu black belt, and he learned some, like, white belt shit.
I don't know. I think, like, I get Charles Oliveira is good at jiu-jitsu and all that, but, like, if I am going to a gym to train up my MMA game or my jiu-jitsu game, it wouldn't be shootbox. Just saying.
Nah. Absolutely not.
Like, if I'm going to go to a better MMA gym, there's a lot better MMA gyms than shootbox that value their fighters heavier than shootbox does.
This fight, I forgot to fucking say it in my part of the prediction, but I'll just like edit the part this fair. This fight is the best gym in Brazil. What wins this fight? If it's shootbox or Fighting Nerds. Fighting Nerds wins this with the momentum they have, with the fighters they have in the ranked positions. They will officially have become the best gym in Brazil if Prates can beat Garry. Because Garry is no slouch IQ wise. He's very smart. So to beat him, that's high level. 15-1. Fucking, that's a big win. Best gym in Brazil at stake in this matchup as well.
Yeah, Prates is with the shits, I think. And thank you for coming to the Wartime MMA podcast. And until next time. There's the outro.
Yep. Good shit.
Praise be to Allah.